History is all around us. The following is an interview by Mary O'Donnell, and she is my great aunt. She is my grandfather's sister. And here it is in her own words about her first job, her first paycheck, and her first moment in the sun.
How did you get it again?
I just graduated from high school, and I wasn't 18 yet. And the man next door to me was talking to me one day about a job, and I was at school about a week or two, and he said, maybe I'll take you down to my place where I work and see if they'll hire you. There's no women there. And I said, oh, okay. So I got all dressed up and everything went on, and he took me into the manager, and he said, well, you certainly are nice looking. And I thought, okay, you know. And he said, well, I think you could work here. And I didn't know there was no women there. There's nobody but the girl who was a messenger. He said, would you like to have her job? Because she's quitting. She's getting married. And I said, okay, I'll take anything you have. So he said, okay. And he said, and how old are you? And I said, 17. He said, oh my gosh. Well, we'll figure something out. And I was going to be 19 in July. So he said, we'll hire you, and, you know, you can work. So I said, okay, and I came in the day after 4th of July it was. And so at that time, you had to be all dressed up. You were not allowed to wear, you never wore slacks. I didn't even wear slacks then. So I was all dressed up, and she said, well, I'll take you through the yard. And I thought, okay. She takes me down with there's things flying all over the place, you know. And I thought, these tractors going up and down the yard. And I thought, oh, Lord. And she took me down to the first office, and they said, oh, girl. So anyway, that's what started it. Then all the men were hanging out their windows looking at the new girl. And we went down through the galvanizing pit and into all the offices. I had to pick up all the mail. And then I would get up there to the main office, and then she took me, I had to take the mail into town to the U.S. Steel building in town, or it wasn't called, it was American Bridge at that time. And I'd take the mail in there, deliver the mail, and then bring it back to the office. That was what you did in the morning till noon, and then distribute the mail again through the office and through the yard where the galvanizing pits and everything were. And that's what I started to do. And I worked with a man who was paycheck. They paid you every 2 weeks. And I remember taking it home to my mother, and she just could not believe that she had this much money. And I said, well, I'll get this every 2 weeks. Because my brothers were in the service, and there was no money coming in other than the welfare. And she said, oh, my Lord, I can't. I said, every 2 weeks, Mother. And she didn't know what to do with this money, which wasn't a fabulous amount now, but it was fabulous then. And from then on, she had no worries at all with my paycheck coming in until my brothers came home from the service. They were all in the service. My one brother, the oldest one, he graduated from school, and then he got a job working in a mill somewhere in Ambridge, and he would ride with one of the men on our street, took him every day, and then he was drafted. So all three of them was drafted. And the one who was in school with me, he quit school, and he joined the Navy. So Tommy, your grandfather, when he graduated, or he didn't graduate, he quit in the senior year. That's what they did. And he joined the Navy. But at that time, there was something with the skin. They had acne, and I guess they were sending them, I don't know where they were sending them, but this became such a terrible thing that they would discharge the people who had the acne.
Oh, wow.
So it would stop all of this. They got a discharge, good discharge and everything. And he didn't like that. that he was sent. He wasn't allowed to be in the Navy anymore, so he joined the Army, and the Army took him, and they didn't send them anywhere other than he was in Germany, I think, for 2 years. Well, they had the Fidelity, which was a young girls' club, and they would get a president every year. So the one year I was over there, and they said that they were having the May crowning and everything, and they had to elect a new girl. So after they elected it was me that they elected. And the one girl was very angry because she thought she should have it, and her family was angry. Everybody was angry at me. I didn't know. I was a very quiet person, never said a word. So anyway, well, when I went home, I didn't know what I was going to tell my mother because I knew she couldn't afford anything. And you had to have the gun and all the stuff with it. So I went home and told her. She said, "Well, what are we going to do? I can't even make anything for you in short time or get material. I can't buy anything." And the whole neighborhood knew that I was the May Queen. And one girl had just gotten married, and she came down and asked if I would wear her gown. And my mother said, "Oh, shoot, she's liable to rip it or something." She said, "I don't care what she does, just so she wears my gown." So then my aunt lived way out in East Liberty. She heard about it. I don't know how she even found out, because you had phones occasionally. And she said, "Can I make her veil?" And she was a dressmaker too. So she made the veil, and my other aunt said, "Well, I'll buy her flowers." So she bought me a bouquet of roses, and I had one coupon for a pair of shoes, and I bought a pair of high heels, which I'd never worn before, and that I had to walk around in them for about a week to walk. To learn how to walk, because they had soles on them that didn't bend, because they were made of some goofy, that wasn't leather, it was just junk. And I walked around in them for about a week to learn how to walk in heels, because you never wore them. And then I was the May Queen, which was, the gown was absolutely gorgeous, and the veil was beautiful. I still have the veil, and that was it. You paraded through the church, you had all these attendants with you, and the one man just thought I was so wonderful, he was going to build me an altar, which he built a beautiful altar. I was scared to death. I don't know, because they put the crown on my head, and it was beautiful roses. And I had to wear that crown and climb these steps, and then take the crown off and put it on the Blessed Mother. And I thought, I'll kill myself going up those steps, because it was so beautiful. And so they helped me up, they helped me up. And I took the crown off and put it on the Blessed Mother. But it was a beautiful, beautiful crown. So she'd wear that. She'd have that on for a month. And that was that.